This is All Things Voluntary, and in honor of Earth Day, I thought it would be appropriate to examine some ways that economic principles and voluntary action can help protect our environment peacefully and without using force against anyone. First off, it must be recognized that people have a real interest in a clean and healthy environment, whether for their health, for ecotourism, or for the good feeling of being environmentally conscious. As long as people believe themselves or even their children to be better off with a clean environment, there will be opportunities for a thriving market economy to profitably invest in sustainability. So what are the issues? Why is there this idea that economic growth automatically means unbreathable air and undrinkable water? Most of it has to do with the concept of the tragedy of the commons. This is what happens when a number of individuals attempt to use the same resource, like land, a lake, or the atmosphere, while each believes he can externalize the cost of his own use to everyone else. The tragedy arises when the resource becomes depleted, making it useless to everyone. This can apply in several ways. Each motorist may think his own car can safely pollute, but when everyone thinks this, they all end up dealing with air pollution. Lumberjacks may think their own harvesting of trees in public forest may not do much harm, but when many of them compete for the available trees, mass deforestation can result. So how can we resolve these types of problems without threatening anyone with force just for trying to conduct honest business? One of the core principles of a market economy and a natural product of peaceful human interaction is the concept of property rights. Property is not only a common moral principle, it is also the foundation of a functional economy. With private property, it becomes pertinent to the proper user of some resource to be sure they do not squander their source of their livelihood, but instead use it wisely. Homesteading of scarce property tends to ensure a legacy of wise use of Earth's scarce resources. More effective users earn a profit, which means they are transforming resources into a more valuable form for people. When a loss is generated, it means they are wasting resources and will eventually have to change practices or liquidate, giving someone else a chance to use the resources better. When property rights are abolished or resources are made available indiscriminately, such as through government-claimed land, the entire notion of better or worse uses goes out the window and the tragedy of the common sets in. In short, however paradoxical it might seem, it's in the interest of resource conservation to respect private ownership. This principle can also apply to pollution. Property titles to land and water can be used to call fault on anyone who dumps waste on another person's property, and even charge for the privilege. The cost of dumping on land or polluting water that is valuable for other uses will naturally be higher, and prices will reflect that. Where land titles determine what land or water is more or less valuable, pollution and dumping will naturally fall to the land that is least useful for other purposes. If dumping land is naturally limited, the price for dumping will certainly increase as time goes on. At present, publicly funded waste disposal means there is effectively no cost to throwing things away, whether it's food scraps or a dirty plastic diaper that'll take a millennium to decompose. In a private disposal system, when owners of dumping sites incur higher costs for accepting plastics and other similar types of waste, they will have to charge more. This cost will have to be passed on to whoever wants to throw things away. One could reasonably speculate that home pickup companies would be willing to give discounts to whoever separates their garbage, and charge more for certain types of waste. Average people might actually check the packaging of the products they buy to keep their trash bills down, whether they're interested in environmental sustainability or not. What's more, as the cost of dumping goes up, recycling may no longer be volunteer work and might actually pay. Well, what about air? There's no way people can own air and charge for pollution, so how can we keep it clean without threatening to throw anyone in a cage for polluting it? Consider the consequences of air pollution or even the pollution of moving water. Dirty air can have disastrous consequences on any kind of outdoor business activity, like an amusement park or sports stadium. Dirty water can ruin the local fishing industry. Any of the affected businesses may be insured against interruption of business caused by pollution. Their insurance companies might have something to say about it. They might even form business relationships with firms that pollute, designed to encourage them to pollute less. The most important aspect of controlling air and water pollution may well be the human health effects. As I'll discuss in another video, health insurance would be much more affordable in a free society, which would mean many more people would be covered, especially for the unexpected diseases that could be caused by pollution. Because insurers have an interest in reducing their liability, they would be the primary source of regulation in a voluntary society. Note that if a company wants to keep customers, it wouldn't be able to threaten anyone to follow management's orders. Regulation provided by insurers on policyholders would only be a condition of having the benefits of insurance coverage. One could speculate that regulation on the activities of other companies who pollute would come by means of giving discounts to policyholders who are willing to prove they do business with companies who exercise environmentally sound policies. For example, an insurer might offer a subsidy for buying a car with low NOx emissions. Similar measures could be used to control the quality of water, seeing that health insurers would have an interest in the general safety of the water supply and would likely be willing to pay for water quality reports. Health insurance alliances might also arise specifically for the function of voluntarily pooling resources to fund dealings with polluting companies to encourage them directly to invest in clean technology. Finally, it must be noted that there are non-monetary reasons that many people have to want to keep the environment we share clean, safe, and sustainable. Environmental sustainability is a cultural movement that no one had to force. In fact, where it has been forced, it has only failed. Credit for the true success of the movement is due to the innovators, the brilliant minds who insulate their homes with soy-based foam, who make products out of recycled materials to make a statement, who challenge themselves to get another mile from a gallon of fuel, who truly want to leave this world in a better state than they found it. Happy Earth Day from All Things Voluntary.